Hey everybody, we're move that. I think we're gonna do some more 394 stuff because I got that over there that needs to get built, but I need to take the head off it first. Uh, yeah, for those people watching live, it's a whole lot more fun. For those people that are not watching live, it's kind of boring, which I go through just about every time. Um, yeah, how's everybody doing? Everything good? I've had a long day, so long week really. Although technically it's my short week, but whatever. Still feels pretty long. It's Friday night. We're going to take it easy tonight. Gonna bring you up here. That way I can see comments as we go. So if anybody hasn't, or if this is their first time joining live, welcome. 2 feet of snow there, Steve. Jeez. Hey, Daryl. 394 for the win, of course. Hey, Pat. And Ken. Good. I have a moderator here. Stanley Brand. How's Ohio? Everything good? Really, the only thing I got in the mail today were these discs. But James is here. Good. Hello, hello. And hello to the Fast family. I don't know who's watching, if anybody. But I get discs. That goes... We'll get to it. Don't worry. But I was trying to think of what I wanted to do with this 394 that was down in Oklahoma. I think I want it back together. I think I want it back together with this head. Dustin sent me another head. I need to get the fin welded back, but this head was actually running. The piston has scratches on it, but it's not scored. I think what's scratching the piston is the fact that I did kind of a cruddy job down in Oklahoma cleaning up the head after it got wrecked. So I need to actually do a better job now cleaning the head and put it back together. And even though the plating isn't perfect, it still develops compression, and I think it's a fine saw to have to kind of be beat on. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, I could put a new head on it, but I think this head has at least a little bit more life in it, and the piston's already kind of scratched up. So, you know what? Let's just... It's not the seals. The seals are fine. They hold pressure, they hold vacuum, and they're fairly new. So it's not the seals that are causing the problem. It basically leads me to believe that the last problem was simply caused by a hook and a ring, basically the port work. So, my bad. Anyway. Williams here. Hello. Yeah, so the only issue really popped out, the only thing I think really happened was somehow there was an issue with the port work, and that's what ultimately it busted a ring and tore everything up. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And maybe I was running it too lean too. Maybe there was that also. The other thing that pops out in my mind is I want to actually change out the fuel filter. I'm going to put the larger fuel filter in here, the tank, wherever it is. So, yeah, unfortunately, I have not gotten to see William's latest videos, so sorry about that. So, yeah, let's take her down. Take her back apart here, I think, and we're going to take the head off. So, let's do that. Easy thing to do is just pop the head. Can I pull that off? I'm going to need a wrench to do that. All right, whatever. Let's pop the head off. Yeah, I did the pressure test, and the seals hold, so that's not a problem. That's not no issue with the seals or the bearings. There we go. Now, how's my gasket here? Looks okay. So let's see how bad the piston is. Yeah, see the exhaust, I just didn't clean it up well enough. It's pretty smooth, actually. That's pretty smooth, actually. I still might hit this with the home. James, just so you know, here's the... oh, Edwin's here? Edwin, hey, Edwin. 100 keep checking plug color. No, Steve, I actually did... The plug is here somewhere. It was not white. So, the other solution is just run it a bit and hand it to Mason. But, James, here's the that 268 head, in case you're wondering. It's right here. And the exhaust looks good on that, so this is a nice looking head. In case, you're interested. I'll put it over there somewhere. Tonight. Great. All right. So let's look at this. There's oil on this like crazy. Absolutely 2-cycle oil for days on this. The rings move. There's no issue there. I think on this guy, I really think I just want to clean the head a little bit more and maybe just seat the darn thing and run it, Hey, Larry. How you feeling? Haven't seen you in a bit. We were wondering about you. Got 268 cranks in. Okay. I want one of these chainsaws. I want a 70 for the big stuff. Stanley, I got a 288 with your name on it, buddy. You feeling better, Larry? That's good. Glad to hear it. See, I was thinking about putting new rings on this, too. No. Yeah, see, it's all oily. It's nice, That's nice. So let's look at the head. Nothing ice cream can't take. Yeah. Yeah, we were worried about you, Larry. We were. Okay. There is nothing ice cream can't fix. Maybe except for a sinus infection. Anyway, there. Yeah, that's the Larry we know. All right. So since it passed the pressure test, I'm going to put these back. These were 50 millimeter Allens that I used to do that. Back in my Allen pile. Got rubber pieces for the pressure test. Those go back to my pressure test bag. And I'm going to leave this on here. I'm going to take this off. Stanley, I'm just so happy that Matthew and you guys let me in. What are you talking about? You're welcome here anytime, Stanley, of course. Welcome to hang out. Just had a guy's here with the dog. Good dog. Daddy boy. Now this gasket. Might still be fine. Again, if I'm doing a Concord level build, I'm going to do a new gasket and all that other stuff. But for this build, this is for me and just for something I'm going to be using down at the in-laws. So, not like it has to be amazing. Out a little bit. Daylight there. Just making room, this outer transfer for the flywheel. And just in case. These spot and this spot prevent it from seating once in a while. So. I'm going to wash this and everything thoroughly, but let me show you guys the damage, what happened. Hang on, let me get the light. Ooh, no, I have a little light right here. You see what happened? So I got in there and polished that best I could, even though the plating nicked right on the center of the exhaust. Yeah, it was probably a little too flat. Now it's like definitely not going to hook, but I think I can smooth it even more. So what I wanted to do was run the hone in there. Now, the thing with hones is there's a sense of them wearing out the plating. Now, I have another head, so if this doesn't work, it's not that big of a deal. think what will happen with that is that that's going to clean any of the burrs that I might have left on there will get cleaned up. Because I didn't have my typical porting tools. Hey, Brett. I didn't have my typical porting tools down in Oklahoma. Then what I should do is take some 50 grit and run it in there. Funny thing, it still generates caber ring. No, they are cabers. Yeah, so I just tried to bevel this as best I could, even though it tore some plating out. You know. There we go. See what I did? So this is still what shines in the light and what grabs your fingernail are two different things. It's also difficult telling a positive from a negative. So if your fingernail grabs something, it might be a negative, which is okay, you're just going to lose compression. But if it's a positive, then it's going to scratch the piston, and you don't want that. Yeah, the caber rings are probably just a little bit better. Let me see if I can run in here with some sandpaper. Sandpaper out. Play with that. I'm going to clean this up best as possible. Again, this is not a saw that I would sell. If I was selling a saw, if I'm doing a saw up for somebody, then this is certainly not something that I would say was good. But for me, for something that's going to go down to the woods in Oklahoma, and I'm going to be running it, it's definitely going to be good enough for me. Have you seen Saw Grader's videos? No. I've been watching less and less like YouTube lately. But doing more of my own thing. You know? Saw Grader. Okay. Brett, you want to email that? Can you email that to me? Links? Oh, we're out of focus. Sorry. Okay. not that fast. There we go. So this is 50 grit. That's great enough for us. And the trick is to keep learning, you know. There's always something else to learn and know. Yep, that's exactly right. Even if you're great, you can always be better. You can always do it better. Just don't always know how you can do it better. Take off the pieces that wear. Keep going. Show you guys now what it looks like. Stefan Kraft. Yeah, this is the saw you sent to me, Steve. Let me get the focus a little different. There we go. Better. Not as liney. Matt, did you ever get the 394 intake elbow? I went out today, but he had already measured. Yes, I did get it. Or I went out there, but he had already measured, so. So now I'll take the 200 grit stuff. I go right up to 200 grit. You can go to 120 and then 200 and then 600 if you want, you know, whatever. But I run it a little faster. You can spend forever on this, obviously. John Riley. Yeah, I'm just using. Didn't see you there. Just using some sandpaper on a 394 head. Actually, John, you want to see how cruddy this is? Here, hang on a second. I lost a piston to this head, and it tore the head up a little bit. And it did it while I was at my in-laws, and I didn't have all my tools down there, so I couldn't clean it up as good as I had hoped. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. See, the plating is not the best, but it actually still generates reasonable compression. So I wanted to get this as smooth as I possibly can. That is like much better now. Let's see. There. Much, much better. So, again, this is not a saw I would sell. It's not something that if you have a customer, this is not something you do for a customer. No. I want to do a little bit better on the beveling. But we work with the 200 grit just for a few more minutes. And then I'll do... Oh, John, just so you know, I got the 394 with the Copsey head right here. Oh, dear. This is already sold. Or at least it's spoken for. It's got the Copsey head. It's going to be ready to go as soon as I get just a few more parts in. We'll get it together. I was going to work on a few parts for it tonight. If I get to it. We'll see. Everything's got to be as smooth as possible. By the way, John, that solo, it sounds fantastic. I think them things are some of the best sounding saws. I need my football diamond here. Ball diamond. Maybe the ball diamond. Football diamond. Just for beveling edges and whatnot. You might. We'll see. My flashlight's all the way over there. Hang on. I really need to see in here. I'm doing this. Yeah, I think this thing had way too little bevel on it. Hey. I'm up and about. I had to lay down for a bit. Okay, but I'm live on YouTube. Okay. Bye. Sorry. Ball and diamond. Okay. Who was on the phone? Just a buddy that was trying to tell me jokes. But I'm hanging out with you guys for the moment. So Just really one line down the center now. So you lose a bit of compression there. But it's pretty smooth otherwise. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the hone back in there. An awful lot of work if this goes kablooey again. Yeah. Okay. Now, just to really make it good, Scotch-Brite. Night, William. Thanks for coming by. I wish I got further on this, but we'll see. Oh, we're out of focus again. Here we go. So this is Scotch-Brite, a barrel, effectively. And yeah, that looks nice. Except for the plating that chipped. Should be fine. If it doesn't keep chipping, it's fine. There's really no way to know without removing the head again in the future, but whatever. Oh, hang on. Much better. Who's that? Tampa Boys Customs. Cool live stream. Well, thanks. It's really boring here unless you participate. If you participate, it's a whole lot more fun. So, again, this is not, just to emphasize, this is not something I would do necessarily for a customer. You want to have a fresh head if you're going to do this for a customer. But for myself, I think this will do fine. Now, put that away. Let me go give this a good wash. We'll put it back on the saw. Yeah, so this is a 394 Husqvarna, and I do a lot of 394s. I really like them. They tend to be, if you ask me on any given day what my favorite saw is, I'd probably say a 394. Um, I have a lot of experience doing these compared to anything else. And one of the things about 394s is they're pretty easy to rebuild. Doing some of the smaller saws is harder because they're smaller. And the bigger ones tend to be a little easier. Tend to be pretty pricey. And the thing with 394 is you're kind of losing some parts availability. Although really it's not terrible. You can still get most of the stuff pretty easily. Yeah. So I think I'm just going to throw this head right back on the saw. Yeah, it's a robust saw for sure. There are some weak points to it, but overall, pretty straightforward saw. Now, I was considering I could throw a new piston in here, and new rings or whatever. I'm not even going to bother because the damage here is not nearly as extensive as I thought. And I think the scratches were just from that thing not being smooth. So, just not going to worry about it. What I am going to do is clean this up just a little bit. Yeah, some people are really into those old saws, Tampa. Some people really, really like them. Not my thing because, well, for a number of reasons. One, doesn't have a chain brake, and number two, the parts availability. And number three, they're heavy, so they're not really practical today. They don't have much practical use. Yes, you can use them, but today, if you want good power in a relatively small package compared to that, then this is the answer. The 394 is like 8 or 9 horsepower and probably close to 10 ported. So maybe more than that. I don't know. It's powerful saw. So it's got a chain brake. You don't have to worry about that. You can get parts for it. And there are guys that literally put like 1 million board feet on these things. The bearings, one of the huge considerations whenever I'm building saws is I like the same bearing on both sides, and I like the same seal on both sides. And in this case, the 394 fills that bill. Normally I goop up the gasket and all that other stuff. Again, I'm not going to worry about that here. I will put a little bit of blue Loctite on head bolts. Because I don't like my head bolts coming loose. You can do this with a ring compressor tool. I usually use my hands. And it takes me a minute. The first ring is usually not too much of a problem. It's the second ring that's the trick. And maybe I've got it tonight and maybe I don't. Let's see. Oh, I did. Look at that. Okay. So Again, normally I do, 1184 and all kinds of goops, but really, we got a gasket on here, it'll hold. You want to bring that essentially to bottom dead center. There. Matt, what's going on? Yeah, 394 parts. Not so cheap. You can spend quite a bit of money on them. Again, if you compare this saw to the saw I'm doing for Jesse, they're very different saws. So this is not something I would do for a customer. It's just a saw that I'm doing for myself, essentially. You do not want to impact these down. You want to torque them by hand. With your calibrated arm, as Ken says. Yeah, the flywheel and the yeah, no joke. The flywheels are the hard ones to come by. And Jesse's getting a brandy new one. Brand new old stock. One. Let's go diagonal. Two. Three. These are quarter 20s. They're actually not metric. Which is at least a little weird, but they didn't do metric for this. Don't have a good reason as to why. There's my calibrated arm right there. All right. Some of the stuff away. I got too much stuff on my bench. It's too disorganized. I need to get it more organized. Let's go inside the gas tank here. Look at this. My father-in-law stuffed the gas tank. Just like I do. For shipping purposes, you just stuff it with Kleenexes. And then any residual liquid in there, Kleenexes take up. Boy, he really stuffed it, huh? One thing I didn't do. Did not bring in a large fuel filter. I want to put that on before I put this on. I guess it doesn't matter. I will put the large fuel filter in here, but it does not necessarily need to be imminently. Oh, and I guess another thing. This doesn't want to do its thing here, so something is up. I think with the spring inside here, so let me look at that. And we gotta get all this stuff off my bench. Too much stuff on the bench. Problem is, as I move through different phases of the project, stuff collects on the bench. Oh, Will made it. Hey, great. Forget which end pops out. Okay. Yeah, something is most definitely wrong with this spring. It's in the wrong spot. And or it's broken. I think it's broken. I think we'll get a new spring. Sometimes you get lucky like that. Pull that out. Just pins, that's all hold this in. It's not much. Hold this assembly in. I may get a different spring. I'm just gonna throw that one out. I'm pretty sure I have like 1,000 more of them, so. Ah, they're right here. I think they're the same spring as in a 372. Hey, Danger. Yeah, 394. But I'm doing all the boring stuff. This is all the boredom. Making sure the trigger works right and all that stuff. It just, again, in case anybody's wondering, this is not a saw for a customer. This is a saw for something I'm going to sell. This is something that I'm going to use personally. Spring keeps walking away from me. No, come here, go over there. There we go. There. Something's still not working right. It should be smoother than that. So if I put a little bit of tension here, it should go back easily. So something's catching. Well, easy thing is to put a different trigger in. Let's try that. Something's bent, worn, buggered, whatever it is. So this is a 372 trigger. They're identical. So it's the same thing. But the throttle cable is not identical. Is it a matter of the throttle cable sticking? Is that the matter? That could be. That's not exactly perfectly smooth. Oh. Some goop on the throttle cable. That doesn't help. Jason Scott, don't forget to modify the top cover. Oh boy, what did I miss here? Okay. Yep. A little bit of anti-seize in there. Wow, that makes a difference. That's a huge difference. I wonder if that'll work now. See, this one just looks worn anyway. Goodbye. I have lots of these anyway. Doesn't really matter. Okay. This dives in that way, that way, that way, there. Show you guys what I actually did here in just half a second. That's how it's supposed to work. Yeah, that'll be fine. That's much better. There we go. Stop seizing. Just to lubricate the cable inside the sheath here. So you've got, let's see, am I out of focus? Sorry. Just to see if I bring it a little closer. So this is just the throttle cable, and there's a sheath here. And if this is sticking inside the sheath, the anti-seize helps lubricate it. Have a good night, James. Thanks for coming. So the other thing is that, let me bring out a... So this spring piece fits in here. There's a tab. It goes on the outside of that. It fits right in there. So, I think I have lots of those. Now, they made the 394 throttle cables effectively proprietary with this little piece here, which sucks because you can't use a 372 cable then. So, oh well, but whatever. Click. And it's just pins. It's push pins that hold this in here. This is like that 3mm, and that's 4mm or something like that. It's just a pin that you knock out. It's not even a roll pin. It's just a straight piece of metal, essentially. That's all that holds it in. Okay. Clean the bench a little bit. Is that new? Not a new throttle cable. This is used. That's the throttle cable that was on it. But I noticed the throttle had been sticking a little bit, so that's why I decided to figure out what was going on. I think the trigger was worn. So that's part of the reason why it was sticking. But there was also some gumminess inside there, so that's no good either. So let's put this on the saw now. You bought a new 261 steel, huh? Cool. I'll tell you what, Edwin. The Tree Monkey 261 was one of the fastest saws I've ever seen, period. Of any saw ever. Really, really stinking fast. I like to get the throttle cable in and the gas line if I can. Not reaching there. Where's my hand stats? I don't know. Okay. Around here somewhere, probably. What's this? Fuel line up and through. Throttle cable. Oh man, I forgot to bring in another cable. Shut off cable. Okay. That's kind of cool. Put that in there pretty quick. Get this AV mount bolt on there in the front. Now it's not going to go too far. Again, I try to tighten everything by hand. This AV mount bolt gets covered by the exhaust, so you really want to get that double checked, you know. I like your saws, but I'm 55 with bad luck, bad back. And you're just like, yeah, this is heavy. I get a couple cuts with this a day, so they're fun. They really are. But heave hoeing this thing around, forget it. Yeah, the 261, you're going to be, that if I was getting a 261, that would go right to Tree Monkey, period. because he does such a good job with it. There would be no question, no hesitation. It's not going too far. Danger, were you going to say something? Did I miss something? I thought you took the head. What head? I took the head off and I put it back on. What about this head? The cylinder head? Yeah, it's back on now. If you... Yes, I did reuse the gasket. I did reuse the gasket. Again, not a software customer. I would 1184 that and this, that, the other thing on that. I didn't use any goops or anything on the gasket, and one of the reasons why is because I may need to remove it fairly soon. Yeah. Oh, there's a throttle cable. Nice and smooth. See, I need to run the kill line, the kill wire. It'd be best if I did that before I did any of the other stuff here. Can I put the carburetor on? Probably. It might be smart to take the carburetor apart. Can I put the muffler on? Yes, I can put the muffler on. There's already the order for the muffler is you want the shield, then the gasket, then the muffler. In case anybody's wondering. And also, just to show a mistake, is the stuck trigger. Well, no, I had to work on the head to make sure it was smooth inside. That way I don't kill another piston, because the last one hooked a ring and ate it, and then I put a new piston in it, but I wasn't able to clean up the head as much as I had hoped. So now it's better. No, for the size of the saw, they're definitely not bad to pull over. Here's a mistake. Don't do this. If you're going to do dual exhausts, put this one up here, not in the way of the chain. It doesn't. It's a mistake. We learn from it. I thought I had room, and I sort of do, but if the chain slaps up, it grabs. So, doesn't matter. Yes, there is a spark screen in here. Hey, Andrew. Yeah, this does have a screen. Now, I don't tighten this down tight. until I get back that off just a shade. Until I get this guy on here. These are just regular M5 flanged bolts. I'm missing the fourth one because I buggered it on the way out. Really don't need to be anything special, so I'm not gonna worry about it here. Yeah, blue Loctite. I'm gonna Loctite the lower ones. The upper ones here don't really matter because they're up against directly against the exhaust, and probably not gonna make a hoot of difference. I do want to check them though. If you use Loctite because of the heat that this has, it probably just is not going to be effective. You know what I mean? But the lower ones go into the crankcase, so. $450. Andrew, what do I always say? Whenever you're pricing anything out, first question, when was its last rebuild? Yeah, I think Loctite works for me. I certainly use it. I've seen some of the Project Farm stuff. It's pretty interesting. Where's my... And then these are the last ones that I tightened down. Yes, Dad, that's right. I want to get people in the habit of saying, when was its last rebuild? Whenever they try to part something out, or price something out, rather. Especially a 394. Because these things are 20 years old. You know? When were the last made? 1998? They made a 394 in 1998, so it's more than 20 years old. So even though it looks good, these saws have a habit of being ridden hard and put away wet. They just do. These things are designed and built to be run for extended lengths of time. Low top runs strong. Strong runner, great. When's the last time you did seals on it? Danger. That's a really good question. There's the question. That's it. What does one of them go for in good shape? And that's really the crux of it. And that's where you start, is say, okay, assuming it's in cosmetic condition of whatever, rebuilt, good mechanical shape, new bearings, fresh rubber, new sails, new cabers, whatever, what would it go for? And then you have to subtract out what it'll take to get it there. So Andrew, I would have to guess that saw that you're looking at probably would bring $600 if it was fully rebuilt. New bearings, new seals, new rubber, kit in the carburetor, new cabers in there, the whole bit. Assuming it's in reasonable cosmetic shape, $600 wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility. So now you have to do the math and say, okay, what's it going to take to get it there? The fact that it's a runner right now, in my mind, is irrelevant. It's irrelevant because of the age of the saw. It's irrelevant. You're gonna have to go in there and do rubber and seals and carb kit and all that stuff before you run it. Because if you have old seals, Ken mentioned this in the last follow up to the live stream. If you have old seals, they might pressure test fine, but they might also open up when they get hot. You can kill a saw like that. Why do that? If you have a 20 some odd year old saw, you know the age, go and do the seals. Don't risk it, you know? And consider splitting the case. If it's in really super nice shape, you open it up, you're like, geez, the bearings are beautiful. Fine, just do seals. But at least do the seals. And then consider that in the price, whatever you're going to offer. This is an important issue. People are spending way too much money on used saws. Right, you're planning on going through it, so be real careful how much you spend. This one was split, yes. It was split. Seals are replaced, new bearings are in here. As of a few years ago, anyway. Yes, I did do this one. Basically, pretty much every 394 that comes into my possession, I don't even think about it. I just split them. New bearings, new seals. It's just too easy and too cheap. The bearings cost a couple of bucks a shot for Japanese Nachi 6203s. We're only talking about a couple of bucks. It's only a couple of bucks for the seal kit, too. So, you know, seals, gaskets, the whole thing. It's just not that much money to do that. And I still had a piston cook on me because it hung a ring in a port, would be my guess. You can buy that's right. That's the other thing is you can buy a brand new with warranty $395. So that's got to be into the equation too. 394s are cool. I like 394s. I really do. I run them all the time. I rebuild them all the time. Let's go through the carburetor because I want to put that on next. What time is it? 9 o'clock? Jeez. Let's just open up the carburetor just for the hell of it. I probably went through it when I built this thing, but I might have gone through it down in Oklahoma. I don't remember. But why not? Let's just go through it just to look. All right, so Andrew, just, you know, for argument's sake, also with the 395, you can get brand new for, let's call it $1,100 or $1,200 without too much trouble. And if you look around for somebody that has a 395 that's been used like 3 times, you might pick it up in close to the $800 or $900 range. So always keep that stuff in mind. The wrong carb kit? Usually it has a grabby thing here. This one does not have a grabby thing. I don't know why. There's something interesting and crusty in here. Email. Okay, send me the email. The diaphragm feels a little crispy. Do you guys see the crunchies in there? Yeah, it should be a slotted. Yeah, it's a slotted lever there. Let me see if I have a kit. I forget. I got all kinds of stuff. It's just a matter of finding it. You know what? There's a good idea. Throw in a brand new screen. Here's another one. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the RWJ4s that have the grabby thing and these don't. Whatever. I think I'll use whichever one is a little more supple. I think this one is. This one feels better. The color's better on it too. That one's all crispy. Bye. This piece doesn't look all stretched out. Some of these get all stretched out. And so far I like these as opposed to any of the other color ones. The blue one's no good. The black one's no good. These tannish ones are pretty good. Let's put a brand new screen in there. No, not Telesin. This is Walbro. Which one is this? This is a 39. The WJ39. Something crusty in here. Grabby. Got a screwdriver with a little grabby thing on it that I made. Oh yeah. Check and make sure this flows. want to make sure this is even. This should be even with that. Schmutz, yeah. Jason's back? Okay. Yeah, the definitely the screen. It's funny. Screens are so funny. What a bunch of these. I've had screens that you could shoot carburetor cleaner through, but they would not flow fuel. Nice thing about these WJ39s, they respond well to this stuff. A lot of carburetors just, I'll kid them and then nothing happens. HD12Bs are notorious for that. They don't flow fuel. Don't flow fuel. I put a kid in it, still doesn't flow fuel. Ugh. Just boggy like crazy. Put a brand new carburetor in. Vroom, perfect. Put these down nice and even. Now you check if it flows again. Got to hold with normal spring pressure, and then you press on it. Should flow fuel, which it does. Okay. Good. So don't shoot me for using a used one of these. So gasket first, then the diaphragm. And be real careful. Don't use carburetor cleaner. Brake cleaner only. The carburetor cleaner will actually swell the rubber tip on the needles, and it won't flow fuel. Use a very specific screwdriver on these. Yeah, the nice. I think one of the reasons why the WJ39s kit so well or respond well to parts being thrown at them, they're bigger, physically bigger than some of the other carburetors. They're less likely to clog. 1, 2, 3. That's just a theory. That's all pretty clean in there. The tan diaphragm. Then the gasket. And then your top. These WJ39s are prized. The saw doesn't look like much, but best of luck buying one of these. Not easy to come by. Brake cleaner safe for all rubber? I don't know. That I don't know, but it does not swell the rubber here on these compared to carb cleaner. Yeah, it defines safe. Mm. Yeah, sometimes the ultrasonic works and sometimes it doesn't. But what's your at the end of the day, what's your time worth? You throw a kid at it, and how much time do I spend here? A bundle, just doing this. So, and at the end of the day, does it work? Does it not? You have to go out and test it. Usually these work. Some of the other car, I've done lots of carburetor kits. I've kitted lots of carburetors. Gonna get this to fit on the saw, and I think we're gonna call it a night. I wanted to work on that other nice 394 tonight, but I'm shot, so it's time to go to bed. Where did that gasket go? Uh-oh. Oh, here it is. Disorganization coming back to bite me here. Where did I put my Loctite? There too, no. There it is, under here. Whatever. Blue Loctite. On the main carburetor bolts. You really need ball end Allens to do these. There we go. Byro. Hey, Norm. Yeah, we're just doing some randomness on a 394 here. This is the one that ate a piston down in Oklahoma. Gotta be nice and tight. Good. Attach the throttle cable just like that. Oh yeah. Oh, that works 1,000 times better. Lockout from 0 to full. Bam. Beautiful. Whew. Norm, you need one. You just do. Just to have them. I'll just say that right now. It's just obvious. You need one. If you don't have one, you definitely need one. Gray piece goes in. This is the throttle idle adjustment. Goes in the right spot and pops in. Yeah, I just smoothed up the cylinder head a bit. It's kind of buggered in there, but it'll still generate compression, so I think it'll do what I need it to do. I gotta hand it to Mason for testing, obviously. Someone local at $3.95 a mil with at low hours, $800. Well, check the compression on the saw. They claim low hours, but if you've run it a few times down a mill, it's pretty hard on a saw. What's involved in HD? Andrew, I wouldn't do it. I would not convert it. There's not a whole lot of point. The only benefit to doing the HD filter is that you can go longer without changing the filter. That really is the biggest benefit to that. I don't necessarily think it flows any better. So consider that. Like if it looks cool to some people. Some people like the low top. Some people like the high top. Whatever. I can tell you that the low top filters are less money. But high top on a 394 is tough conversion because you need the high top 394 air horn. You can sort of use a 395 air horn, but it's really kind of jury rigging it. So the 394 air horns for high top are very hard to come by. So there's not a whole lot of point unless you can find one of those. Oh, that feels so much better. Feels so much better. What a difference. You need as many saws as you can fit in your garage, really. So I need this wire. Need a spark plug. I need a large filter, fuel filter. We'll do all that tomorrow. So this thing will pop tomorrow. I just don't know when. We'll get this to pop. Actually, this is a fairly new spark plug, so I'll just use that. It's not all gunked up either. The Echo chainsaw bike. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, we'll get this to pop tomorrow, I think. Let me go to bed and we will keep playing. Onward. Questions, comments, anything else, guys, while I'm fiddling here? Yeah, I think I saw the one with like 30 saws on the motorcycle. Yeah. Danger, you asked some great questions. Thanks for coming. Norm, Steve, Mega, everybody. Will, thanks so much for hanging out. Just so everybody knows, I do this so we can learn together. Because this gives me a kick. I really get a kick out of doing this and hanging out with you guys. So if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to throw them up here so that everybody can benefit. I definitely don't have all the answers, so I'm always taking cues from you guys. But I really enjoy building together. I have a lot of fun with that, and I hope you guys do too. It really makes it kind of a fun, fluid kind of forum here, and I'm having a great time. So hope you guys are too. So everybody be safe out there. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Okay. Take care, guys, and shoot me an email if anybody needs anything. Later. Bye.